card, and it's going to, obviously, as you can see, it's got a bit of a farming theme, and we're going to be using this topper here. And I've set out my papers. I've got some mirror card in gold, some black card, some natural craft cardstock, some cardstock that's patterned with a straw pattern, and a green kind of stripe, which I kind of think looks like the ground when it's been cut by the tractor. And then we've got some green crafting twine as well. All right. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is fold my craft cardstock in half. Now I'm going to keep this nice edge. It's got like a texture on it, and I'm going to keep that on the outside, so the smooth side is on the inside, which will make it much easier for anybody who's writing. So this is an A4 piece of card, and I'm literally just going to fold it in half. Now you could score it first if you prefer, but I'm just going to go for the straight fold. And then I've got my scoring tool, so as I've moved it, and then we're just going to score down. I think with craft cardstock you haven't got to worry too much because it does not going to crack or anything like that. Okay, so that's scored in half. Then the next thing I want to do is put down a gold mirror layer followed by a layer of my green. So I want a gold layer that's about, I want about 1/4 inch of my craft cardstock showing instead of my usual 1/8. So I'm hoping this piece of gold mirror will be just about nice. Yep. So we're going to measure that up and cut that to size, and I'll give you those measurements. The gold piece is 5.5 inches across by 8 inches deep, and that just sits nicely on my card base. So it's going to be a nice border around there. And then my green piece is, I'm going to do that as 1/8 of an inch smaller, so an 1/8 of an inch down from 8 inches, so 7 7/8, and 5.5, so oh golly, 5 and again 1/8 off, so that would be 5 3/8. But I need to just be sure that I put my stripes the right way, so I want the long side to be here, so I'm going to cut my 5.5 less than 1/8, so my 5 3/8 I'm going to cut first. Now the other thing I wanted to do is make sure that the stripes are reasonably even, which they look like they are, because we've got like a dark piece there and a dark piece there, so that's not too bad. So that piece can go to one side, and then 7 and 7/8, so just a small piece off the bottom, and that should fit just lovely on our piece there. So that's those cut. Okay, so I'm going to stick these down because I'm not putting any ribbon or twine around these pieces, and I'm going to use my double-sided tape just so it's got that little bit of extra strength. So I think these are just slightly stronger than the glue runners. Okay guys, so I've stuck my gold mirror and green card together, and then I've put it onto my card base, so that's all done. So we need to put that to one side now, and we need to work on our topper. So first of all, I want my tractor here, so we're just going to gently pop this out. Now they are die cut, but they've got quite firm little hold on them, so just be careful, or if necessary use scissors, but I'm probably going to regret it, but there we go. Okay, what we want is our happy birthday, so we just pop that out, and then I don't think we want any more on that one unless I use one of these smaller pieces on the inside, but at the moment I'm going to pop that to one side. So the next thing we want to do is make the mats for my topper. So I need to measure my topper, and it is 3 3/4 inches wide, so I want to make it 1/8 of an inch bigger, so we want to do 3 7/8 for the width. So let's pop that in straight away, because otherwise I find you forget what you're wanting to do. Pop that in position and just trim. Make sure you get rid of the other piece completely out of the way, because there's how many times I've picked up the wrong one. And then width wise we have got it at 5 1/4, so we want it to be 5 3/8. So about there, I hope. Okay, and then that should sit just lovely on there, and that's going to give us a nice border. And I'm not going to cut these pieces out, I'm going to leave them on there because I think that looks really nice. Okay, the next layer I want to do just on the back of that is a gold mirror layer. So again, just can't remember what we'd got here. So this was 1/8 of 4 inches, so we need to do this one at 4 inches. Where are you? There you are. Okay, and trim. And then lengthwise, this was 5 3/8, so we want to do 5 1/2, which makes it about there, I think. And then that should sit nicely behind there with that on top. So I'm going to go ahead and put those 3 together. So we're just going to use my tape again. Okay, so that's those 3 stuck together, and I think that looks really effective. So we're going to be putting that onto our card, but first of all there's one more bit we need to do, and that's our straw. So, and for that we need our Spellbinders. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is cut a shape from our straw piece of card using our Spellbinders dies, and I'm going to be using Labels 28, and I'm going to use the biggest die in that set to do that with. So let's get our machine and get cutting. Okay, so I've got my Spellbinders machine, Grand Calibur, out. I've got my die, I've got my cards, so let's put together our sandwich. So first of all, our base plate, then our die with the cutting ridge up. Now I'm going to pop that, I think, right up the end so that I don't waste all my card. And then I'm going to pop my card on face right side down. I think that's what I decided when I first used it, that that was better for the embossing. And then I'm going to put my cutting plate on. Because it's only one die, we don't need to worry about sticking it down with, and one piece of card, we don't need to worry about sticking it down with low tack tape, that's the word. Okay, so we pop the sandwich in, roll the handle, and you heard the big crack. That's perfectly normal. Okay, so then we gently remove our cutting plate, and as you can see that's cut through beautifully, and then we remove the excess card, and we're going to keep that, and then we are going to do our embossing sandwich. So I'm going to move that to the middle now, and the next thing we put on is our tan mat, like so. And then we've got our embossing plate, and then through we go. I don't know how much it's really going to show the embossing part on such a pattern paper, but I'm still so enthralled with the machine, I'm going to try it on everything. Okay, so let's pop this to one side and pop it out. And actually, you can see the embossing, it's beautiful. I don't know if you can catch it in the light. Let me put it on the table here. There it is, and you can actually see the embossing. I'm just trying to see if you can catch it in the light. There you go, I think you can just see it. And if you go on the other side, you can see it easier without the patterning. But to the naked eye, it's actually quite a nice, it just gives it a nice finished look. So that's that piece done. Make sure you put your die away straight away, because I think they're probably one of those things that are very easily lost. Okay, so now let's get all the other pieces of the card, and oh no, first, before we put anything on this on the card, I'm going to wrap my twine actually around this, kind of like a straw bale. let's give ourselves a nice length so that I've got enough to do a little knot. And actually, I'll tell you what else I'm going to do. I'm going to put 3 bits of tape pen on the back so that as I put this around, it's going to stick to that and it's going to help me I want 2 around that. I don't. So I want that across the back there, and then again like so, and then across again to the 3rd piece, and then we're going to go back down again so that we can bow it, so it's going to then cross back over the other way. And by putting the tape on the back, it just makes it a lot easier to grab hold of. And then we've got those bits at the front, and we're going to just tie that into a knot. So let's just, or a little bow, I'm not sure which, but probably a knot. Okay, so nice and tight. Far too much there. Getting in a pickle trying to hold that still on the slidey table. And I think I will do a little bow. I know I said I wouldn't, but I'm going to turn it this way up so I can use the short end. I do like twine with a little bow. I think it always looks really cute. And it doesn't look girly, so I think it still works on the guys' cards nicely. So there you go. I'm just going to use my tape pen. I'm just going to put a tiny little dot of adhesive down there and then stick my bow so that it stays put, because I don't want it coming undone and messing about. And then I'm just going to cut the excess twine and off here. Be careful not to cut the wrong piece. And there we go. Okay, before I put the front of the card together, I'm just going to do a little something on the inside just to make it less boring. And I'm going to go around the edge of the sentiment side of the card. It's not liking this rumply craft cardstock. And then I'm going to go around the edge of my aperture that we created when we cut that shape on our Spellbinder die. Like that, and that should be enough between the two. When we then put it on, that will be enough to cover, to hold it in place. So we're just going to stick that down on the inside there, like so. And then I'm going to turn it over and cut the excess off with our scissors. Okay, so I've got my sentiment, and I'm going to put my little tractor down here as well, I think on the same page. So this is my sentiment. This is a pin flare acetate sticker, and so we're just going to pop this on. And I think this shape works because of the nice arch up here, and I want to be sure not to take it so low that people can't write, so I'm just going to take it very slightly above. Hopefully central. Perfect. Okay, and then just stick that down. What's lovely is that you can still see through that, which is really nice. I like that. And then we can just pop our little tractor down in the corner here, and I think we'll have him nice and straight. So we'll just get some of our tape and pop him down. It's nice to decorate the inside. I think it makes it just that little bit special when you open up the card, and it's not boring, it just makes it that bit extra something. So that's the inside of our card done. I think that looks really nice, really pleased with that. And I was thinking about on the outside of the card whether to add some extra twine around here, sort of like a wrapped around, but I don't think I will at this point in time. We'll see later. So now really at the moment all we've got is to put on our two toppers and our happy birthday sentiment. So the first one I want to raise up a little bit, so I'm going to use my 3D foam. So you could use your glue gel, but I'm just trying to, I'm not curving any of it, and I've got loads of 3D foam. I'm getting through some of it. All of you know I prefer my glue gel, but this works good too. Okay, now in order to get this one in the right position, we need to have this other one to hand, because this is obviously all important. So don't kind of squish this down until you're sure, and I think it's going to be kind of maybe just a little bit higher. Okay, so let's pop this one in place. Now I want it just under my little bow like so, and kind of even into that corner. Kind of similar distances top to bottom here and side to side, so there's kind of an even amount of gap. So this gap matches this gap, and this gap and this gap match. Well, that's the theory anyway. Okay. I reckon that looks pretty good, so let's stick him down. Okay, now this edge isn't sticking because of the twine, so I'm going to have to put a tiny bit of foam tape in there. If I was using my glue gel, this actually wouldn't be a problem, so perhaps this was the time when I should have used my glue gel, but anyway. So I'm just going to gently lift that and put a little piece of the foam in the corner, and then pop him back down in place. And no problem, absolutely fine. Okay, and then my happy birthday, I want kind of trying to decide. I reckon that looks good. Let's pop that there. Okay, now I think that it would be nice, in fact, to put a bit more twine around. So let's just pop this round twice. My twine, as you can see, I've put a single knot in there like that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece here, this little end, and I'm going to pop him underneath both of these pieces here. What then happens is the next little knot that I do is going to knot around this piece, and it's going to put them together and hold them so they don't kind of disappear off on their own. Okay, so now those two pieces are knotted together, and I just think that looks nice. Okay, so here's our finished card. I hope you've enjoyed making this with me. And that's, as I say, the finished card on the outside, and then just to remind you, here's the finished card on the inside, which I think just finishes the whole thing off really nicely. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed making this card with me. I'd love to hear your comments, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.